Gerhard, can we get the two seats for... Ladies and gentlemen, may we introduce you to Nancy Hunt. Nancy, would you join us? Whoa! Shake that thing.
Thank you.
Nancy is Nile's life partner, an incredible duo in life that... Nancy, it's so great to see you, and thanks for joining us. It's just terrific that you can. And we'd also like to introduce onto the stage someone that has flown in today all the way to München from Malawi. Does anyone know where Malawi is?
Yes.
Central Africa.
Yes.
So we'd like to introduce you to Chmba Chilemba. Chmba, welcome. And the reason that we're doing this is because we wanted to just let you know the importance that Nile and Nancy have for their foundation and the work which promotes cultural diversity and nurtures and mentors vision, talent, and the ideas of young people who are positively changing the world all over the world, like Chmba is doing and does. And this is one of the reasons we want to talk about this here at DLD as a closing element of what we're doing, because this is a central element of what you talk about, the DHM. The deep hidden meaning is to really help to foster happiness, optimism, and meaning.
Yes.
What do you say to that?
I love this guy.
But it's true.
He's our hype man.
I know.
I'm with you. What do you say, Nancy?
You're our hype man. That's what I say.
No, but seriously, tell us why you brought Chmba with you all the way from Malawi.
So Chmba, so I think I should just give a little bit about
Please,
your family.
about the family, yes.
So, as Nile said, when he talks about music touching the souls of a million strangers, I think we do the same at We Are Family Foundation.
More than 1 million.
Yes. And yours too.
Yeah.
The music, more than 1 million. But many of you may know or not know, Nile, when he was a teenager, was an activist. He was part of the Black Panthers in New York. Thank you. And We Are Family Foundation was actually started right after 9/11, the events of 9/11. Nile and I were in our apartment when that happened in New York City. And we did a couple of efforts in order to bring people together to re-record We Are Family as a way of bringing people together and a message of we are family, because it was a difficult time, as many of you remember. But as we decided to expand what that message was, We Are Family, the song, is no longer just the song on the dance floor. It's used at every political campaign, depending on, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It's used at every wedding, bat mitzvah, you name it, it's a standard. And I know you've all been there, you've all been at one of these events, and you hear We Are Family come on, and you're like, of course, of course. And then you start singing the chorus, and you all do it, because that's just what happens. And we said, could this song have a larger meaning? Could We Are Family be that larger, idealistic concept of bringing people together to make the world a better place? And wouldn't it be wonderful if we worked with young people to do that? Not the little ones, they're not yet. Not the adults, because they're already set in their ways, sorry. But people who are teenagers, young people who have ideas. Sorry, I thought there was something coming up. But young people who are actually working to make...
No, it's a good idea. Once you're done, we should play that video.
Exactly. So it was about, could we find young people inspired by Nile when he was a young person who are working to make the world a better place and do it all over the world? Because if you can have young people from every socioeconomic area, every culture, every place around the world, not just in America, if you can find them and bring them together as a family, you have a very, very powerful entity, of which Chmba was one of our young people in 2013, was it? Yeah. So Chmba, and I'll let Chmba tell her story, came to us in 2013 with an amazing work she was doing in Malawi with young women. And now she runs one of our most impactful programs called Youth to the Front Fund. So she hasn't left our family. In fact, she has expanded our family. So anyway, let's go.
Show the video?
Let's go to the video, and the video depicts one of our young people who we fund and work with, of which Chmba is now directing. So let's go to the video.
Let's roll the tape.
Oh, should we get out of the way? Okay.
My name is Dr. Bernadette Lim. I'm the founder and executive director of the Freedom Community Clinic. I've been leading the Freedom Community Clinic for 5 years. I remember my first interview with the We Are Family Foundation. It came at such a critical time too, because I didn't know how we were gonna do. I was a medical student, and I just, true to the energy of Oakland, true to the energy of a very optimistic, gonna get it done 24-year-old. I just knew that at that time, especially in 2020, with all of the racial justice protests that were happening, with all of the social isolation that people were feeling from the pandemic, like, had to find a way. And ultimately, you know, we were organizing these healing clinics out of my car trunk, and we were storing stuff in my friends' garages, and we were making it work, but we were just getting so much momentum for community that I just didn't know how we were gonna sustain. And so that was when I stumbled upon the We Are Family Foundation and the Youth to the Front Fund, because we just needed some seed funding to continue these healing clinics beyond that moment. And knowing that if we continue to build on that momentum and really help solidify healing as part of the movement, not just in reaction to oppression, as a movement that needs to be established for the new standards of community medicine and healing, that's what our intention was. And so that's why it was such a miracle that we found the We Are Family Foundation and the Youth to the Front Fund, because it allowed us to build that foundation. And it was like that initial charge, that initial battery that helped just catapult it to where it is now, which is now a whole ecosystem, which is now a whole community care model that people from around the world are really watching, because we have established healing as a standard, not in reaction to oppression and racial injustice, but as a standard for our people regardless. Like, this is what our communities deserve. And the We Are Family Foundation and the Youth to the Front Fund made that possible and helped bring those imaginations to life.
Well, there you get to see the very embodiment of doing well by doing good for the community. And Nancy, you and Nile have really been the architects of this bigger picture that affects the world. So tell us a little bit more about Chmba and Chmba's impact.
I think Chmba should do that.
Yeah, go for it, Chmba.
Yeah, I think so too, I agree. I'm from Malawi, and growing up, I knew our country was poor. Actually, there was a time when we were the world's poorest, because whenever our school, whenever they connected the computer lab to the internet, we'd go Google who's the world's poorest, and then we'd be like, yes, Burundi beat us, now we're no longer the poorest. And so at least now it's like, it's not the thing that is on the news and the only thing that people know our country by. But growing up in the world's poorest country, it's as horrific as it looks, where, yes, there's the basic needs, which if you have the privilege of having those, you're lucky, but also just things such as education, health, they become luxuries. And for me, growing up, I remember my parents would always say, if you don't work hard in school, you'll be poor and then you'll die. And I was like, I don't want to die, so I need to work hard in school so I don't die. And for me, going to school, making sure that I get the best grades was survival. It was something that I was taught that I need to do in the future, because you never know what will happen. And at school, I had a close friend who eventually stopped showing up, but this person was really, really the most brilliant student in our class. And so I started wondering, why isn't she coming to school? And 3 months go, I'm very nervous. This is before like Facebook and social media, so there's really no way to reach each other. But I'm just like, I hope she's good and I hope she's studying for the exams so that she can proceed and go on forward. So we run into each other, I think it was, 4 months later, she missed the exams. We run into each other at a market, and she tells me like, oh, I couldn't come to school anymore because I'm getting married. I'm actually getting married next month. And I'm like, what do you mean? We are 15 then. Like, what do you mean you're getting married? And she's like, oh, my parents found someone who's going to pay to support my brother's education. He will go to the best schools. And so I'm getting married so that we can support the family. I wasn't shocked, because this was something that you would see all around. I was just disappointed, but I wasn't shocked because it was something that I would see all the time. But also then I just got saddened, and I started reading more about it. And I was like, first of all, why is child marriage still legal in Malawi? And also, why does she have to be the one for the sake of her brother? I started looking into the statistics where in Malawi, primary school education is free. So what you have is that you have 114% attendance. You have adults going back to school. And then at secondary school level, there's a charge that the government charges a fee. And what you see is this massive dropout where only 36% of our secondary school aged population actually goes to secondary school. And for young women, it's 6%. So there's this extra drop for young women, which is was mostly due to child marriage. So I was like, I need to do something about this. And 16-year-old me was like, okay, let's see who's doing something about empowering women. Then Dr. Muhammad Yunus had just won the Nobel Peace Prize for Grameen Bank. So I was like, I want to start a microfinance program. And I said, you know what, I'm going to apply for grants. I found a small grant. I'm going to do a microfinance program for 10 women. On the first day of the meeting with the 10 women that I had invited, there was a long line of women. So this is 16-year-old me walking with a notepad. I go up to the line. I'm like, what's going on? What's happening here? And they're like, oh, we heard you're giving money to women. And so we all showed up. And there's like 150 people. I'm like, no, listen. I don't have a lot of money for everyone. But still, people are like, okay, what you do is we'll learn with you, and then once you get more money, you can give it to the rest of us. So I was like, okay, cool, we'll keep recycling the money. And for me, I was so nervous, I didn't know what to do. There were all of these people depending on me, so I started looking at programs, and that's when I came across We're Family Foundation, which was supporting young people with ideas or initiatives that they're running in their countries or around the world to come for a program to New York City where you're trained, you're connected to a mentor. And I did that program, and for me, it grew our organization where now we've impacted over 40,000 young people. But also it was the fact
40,000?
40,000 young people. Thank you. But also it was, it was just having that support, having people that I could call and say like, hey, what's a 501c3? They're telling me that I need this to raise more money. How do I get a bank registered? It was having a support system. And which is why today I feel so privileged in the role that I serve at We're Family Foundation as director of the Youth to the Front Fund, where we give funding to young people all around the world. Anyone, anywhere can apply for funding. And you know what's shameful about funding is that only 1% of philanthropic funding goes to the global south, like to black and brown countries. And that's where the world's poorest are. And so if you're thinking of where we need to be funding the most, where there's the most dire poverty, the most dire need, where also even climate devastation, where we're seeing a lot of that, that's where the least amount of funding is going. And so our work is to make sure that we are funding those who are on the front line, hence the name Youth to the Front. And our work looks at finding a lot of young people who have innovations, ideas around the world that are at the forefront of fighting for equity, equality, and then also fighting systemic injustice. So yeah, that's a little bit about what brings me here.
Nancy, please.
I would just like to add something. Thank you. How much do we love her? I think if there's one thing you come away with from us talking about We Are Family Foundation is that we say yes to young people. We say yes to people who have ideas. We say yes to people who have ideas or already have started it and need something more. In this particular program, Youth to the Front Fund, most of these people have always heard no. And in fact, that's where this idea for this particular program came from, because Nile has said to me over our 30 years together that if he was 16, 15 years old, a black boy in New York City, and he had a good idea.
A smart black boy.
A smart black boy who had a great idea to
Very
change the community. No one was going to say yes to him. Nobody was going to fund him. His friends, his family, a bank. So let's talk about how many years later we are, and we're still in that position, really. So being able to say yes to these young people, like she said, Bernadette up there. By the way, when she asked for the 5,000 because we asked her what she needed, she was a medical student then. She hadn't become a doctor yet. Now she's a doctor, $5,000, and now she's raised $4 million, 2 clinics, and a farm.
The farm.
That's because we said yes, and then she took it and did amazing things. And then the second thing I would say with this particular fund and with a lot of our other young people we work with is that this is the first time they feel seen.
Yeah.
First time they feel seen, and the first time anybody recognized them enough to give them the funding and the support. Let me tell you, this person right here gives so much support to all of our young people that we work with. She is on the phone 24/7, in any crisis, she is right there. And for that, I love you as a human to be there for all of the young people that we work with. So to be seen, we all want to be seen. Everybody wants to be seen. And to be able to do the work that they believe they can do. And I think that we do that really, really well at We Are Family.
So Nile and Nancy, I'm just hearing this story. One talks about it being noble, but the point is that you're doing well by doing good, and you're doing good in a really extraordinary way. And the underlying root of this is songs that come up to you in a creative drive where your DHM is on overdrive. And it's just incredible to see the way that the two of you in your 30-year partnership have worked together to bring joy, to bring real meaning into people's lives around the world. So Niall, this is such a fitting way that we bring a conclusion to DLD 2025, the 20th anniversary. Steffi and her team, Mark, and the whole DLD team, just an extraordinary gathering this year, which really gave meaning to us all. And I thought that what might be appropriate to finish off with is if we do one of the songs that you actually encouraged David Bowie to do, because it's something that gets people to move, which means you are developing muscular strength as you do a bit of a dance. So if we can just go on the sound to Let's Dance, because I thought if we finished with that today, that would be something that could get you guys all up and just jiving a little bit to this, because when you think about it, what we've just listened to and heard from Nile, from Nancy, from Chmba, I mean, this is the stuff that life is really all about. So let's roll the tape.
He's telling you to get up and dance.
Well, we'll do We Are Family. We'll do We Are Family instead. Okay, DJ.
Oh yeah, play the wrong song.
Dancing on stage, here we go.
Now he's going to get the right song.
All right, Let's Dance is the one we were looking for.
I'll make it a little funkier today.
Yeah.
Count it in. on, guys. You can do it. It'll add to it. It'll add to it. Give it a feel. Come on. Go for it.
And if you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, we'll hide.
Thank you very much for doing it. When I saw the program that Adek and Miles were in the same slot, my 15-year-old boy, me and girl, me had a heartbreak at the same time. And when you see synchronized, that was like awesome.